Hello, and thank you so much for joining us again on this month's episode of Boys and Girls Club's Clubcast. This month, I am honored to be joined by two amazing individuals who are helping our teens get involved in the skilled trades. And that would be Mr. Sean Mitchell, who is our Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County Director of Workforce Readiness, as well as Mr. Zac Cassidy, who is the president of the Palm Coast Building Trades, as well as the business manager for the local International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union. Did I say that right?
You did well.
Okay, that's a mouthful. So to get started, I do kind of want to know a little bit about each of your background in the skilled trades, because obviously a lot of this is about introducing our youth in St. Lucie County to new career paths. And I kind of want to hear from both of you about how you got involved in trades and what that career path looked like for you. So Sean, why don't you get started?
Okay, I'll go first and we'll segue into Zac. I just got my 40-year pin from Ironworkers, Local 402. I started my career in New York City back in 1982, and I worked all over Manhattan, and then in right around 1990, the bottom fell out. There was no work, and my mom and my dad lived down here, so I wanted to be closer to them as they got older. And then I transferred my membership to West Palm Beach's Ironworkers Union, and then I slowly graduated up the ranks to be business manager, which is the top position with the Ironworkers for 20 years. And then in 2020, I retired. Now, along with that job, I had been president of the Palm Coast Building Trades for a good decade or so, and when I was retiring, I strongly encouraged all the other trades to select Zac to take over my position, and he's done an outstanding job with it. So I'm glad that Zac could meet us today and talk about him and what he brings to the table for our Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue into how you got involved with trades and how your career sort of got started in that direction.
Thanks for having me here today. I started in 1998 in our apprenticeship, which is in West Palm Beach. It's a 5-year program. I did college a couple years before that and had the interest into the building trade, so chose electrical, did my 5-year apprenticeship, and I started working for the local in 2007 as an organizer. Worked my way up through assistant business manager, and now as my current position as the business manager. Born and raised in West Palm Beach. It's been a great career for me. I think anything with the trades, you learn a skill, they can't take that away from you. So you'd always be able to provide for your family. So
now you mentioned electrical and you mentioned ironworking, but and we got to talk a little bit, and I got to learn a little bit about you guys before this, that just they're not separate. Like, they are separate, but you oversee all the trades now. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what all does that include for people who might not know?
It's basically, we have 11 different trades underneath the Palm Coast Building Trades. And our jurisdiction is Palm Beach, St. Lucie County area. And pretty much any of the job sites, which would be a building trades job. We have our nuclear plant up in St. Lucie. That's a building trade job, so you're representing basically all the trades. They have their own business managers there, and then we meet monthly with all the business managers and deal with whatever issues arise there, and represent the workers and the different locals there.
So that would include like plumbing, electrical, iron,
HVAC, insulation, cement, concrete, operating engineers, the guys that run the cranes and gals that run the cranes, and all the different things like that, painters, carpenters, you name it, they're represented.
And about how many people in that jurisdiction do you oversee?
Maybe 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't think people realize how many, like the breadth of how many people are involved in skilled trades and what that can mean for our youth getting involved in all those different opportunities. And you guys mentioned apprenticeship a lot.
Yes.
So talk through that a little bit for people who might not know what that looks like.
Okay.
Because
as long as an individual, man or woman, has a high school diploma or a GED, can pass a drug test, has a reliable vehicle to get to and from work, there's various programs. 2 of the programs are 5-year because there's a lot of math and things like that, especially with the electricians, the plumbers, and pipe fitters. Those are 5-year programs. And when we say 5-year programs, the most important thing I can tell a young man or woman, tuition is free. You pay no tuition. All the training is free. The only thing you have to pay for is your books and your tools. And sometimes we collaborate with Career Source where they'll purchase their tools for them. And it's earn as you learn. In other words, different various ones. For example, the ironworkers, you start out at 60% of a journeyman's wage. And every 6 months, provided you play by the rules, go to work, make that company money, you'll get a 5% increase in pay. And it's a guarantee.
Wow.
And then you're able to retire with dignity with something called a pension. And when we were sitting outside before, I was telling you, I probably know 40 or 50 young men and women who live in our county that have graduated our program, and they're homeowners today.
Wow.
So dirty hands, clean money, right, Zach?
That's it.
And I think you mentioned it a little bit, but when you go through this program, are you going for one track, or do you kind of learn different trades within the apprenticeship?
Well, what we try to do with our youth here at the Boys and Girls Club is give them exposure to all. But you could hypothetically become a journeyman master electrician and say, okay, now I want to be an HVAC guy, or I want to be an iron worker or a welder for different crafts. But no, it's a long program.
Yeah.
And once you graduate, you're a journeyman, and that's what your career will be, because you get vested pension credits and things of that nature.
And you said all you need for that is a GED, so these are like high school graduates that could potentially join. So when we talk about the collaboration between these unions and these trades and our youth, what do you both see as the importance? Why is that important for teens to learn? And a lot of times we talk to our teens about going to college and internships and things like that, and a lot of times skilled trades aren't talked about. So why is that an important discussion to have with our teens?
Well, first and foremost, you have a huge expansion here in St. Lucie County. They say by the year 2045 that 280,000 more residents will live here. Imagine, if you will, that's a whole nother Port St. Lucie. Well, we have a skilled trades gap, and I believe it went a couple generations back where we used to have vocational and things of that in high school. Like you said, everybody's got to go to college. Well, college isn't for everybody. And the last time I checked, you could talk to an attorney for an hour and he'll charge you in the hundreds of dollars. Well, have an electrician or a plumber come to your house and see what that's going to cost. So we've tried to expose our youths this summer, and I started in January, as you know. We had the electricians help us, if I can talk about it for a second. It's called the Ken Pruitt Unit, and we got a grant for a food pantry. So we collaborated with the Home Depot Foundation, which paid for all the cabinets, all the lights, the LED lights, new sinks, new refrigerator, all those things. Well, the Home Depot came in with 4 or 5 volunteers, but they don't do electrical, they don't do plumbing. That's when I called Zach and said, hey, do you have an electrician that could come? He had a young man named Jay Burrows, who used to be a councilman out in Belglade, and he had 2 of his girlfriend's kids go to that club.
Oh, wow.
So he did all the LED lighting, new sockets, new everything, and that was. And before I forget too, the kids at the KPU unit, they made a thank you card, and it says thank you, and of course it has a light bulb there, and then it says for lighting our way.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just amazing. So thank you, Zach, and make sure you give that to Jay.
Will. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is the Ken Pruitt Union Food Pantry how you got involved with Boys and Girls Clubs initially?
Me, I got it actually with Sean. I know I think before you actually started working there, we went up and spoke to the middle school for the summer program.
Right.
And we had about 6 or 7 of the different trades came up there, and they had questions about the different trades. We had our training directors there and answered some of the questions for them. And they kind of vetted the group to see which one had the interest in the trades, and we spoke to that crowd.
And how do you see that positively affecting our teens, having those conversations?
I think it's great. I mean, like I said, college may not be for everybody, and it's not easy going through the apprenticeship program. It's just like college, but it just provides a different pathway to the middle class and able to, like I said, pension and annuity, which pays you when you finish your career. A lot of our programs have full family medical, so just getting that alone is a big stepping stone. But just offer them a path, and then once they finish our program, the sky's the limit. They can become a contractor, a foreman, general foreman, parlay to anything, once you get the 5 years done or 4 years done. So.
And is the apprenticeship program the only way for teens or whoever to break into those types of fields, or are there other routes?
No,
they
there's
can
other
take?
instances. Say, for example, with the ironworkers, if you had somebody who's not worked with the union and they've been doing it for 10 years, we can test them and give them the certifications that they need, because he'll tell you, Zach will tell you, safety is the most important thing. You want an individual to come home the same way he went to work. So OSHA 10, CPR, first aid, all certificate-based things. But there are different pathways to get into the union, yes.
And how does it work location-wise? If someone goes through an apprenticeship here in St. Lucie County, how does that work if they move to a different county?
It's really easy. Throughout the whole United States and Canada, we're one international association, so you're called a boomer. But say if there's a lot of work, even over in Tampa, or if there's a lot of work going in California or anyway, you can go to work out of that local and reciprocate your benefits back home.
Okay.
So it's not, if things are slow here, there are opportunities where you can go elsewhere.
So it really is like a universal skill that you're providing teens, and that in itself is so important because, like you mentioned earlier, it's something that you can't really take away once you learn it.
Yep.
So that's really awesome. And how about when teens are off like researching this? How do they reach out? How do they get this information? How do they get involved?
You want to give your website?
Yeah, ours is at ibw728.org. If you Google electricians union in our area, we should pop up right at the top. We basically anything on the website. If you don't find ours, you'll find another one throughout the country, which is under the same international organization. So we're real easy to find. Our apprenticeship program is in our schools in West Palm. We do have the Green Collar Task Force that we do continuing ed classes, and some of the other trades actually hold their apprenticeship classes up there.
That's here in our county.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, because I know that's something that you've mentioned before.
Yeah, back in 2010, when I was president of the building trades, we applied and got a $500,000 grant. And what we did with that grant was we built a Green Collar Task Force, and we worked with Commissioner Doug Coward. He helped us facilitate that. They gave us 12,000 square feet, 6 classrooms, I think 10,000 square feet of shop area, a welding facility out back. So say if you live here in St. Lucie County, you don't always have to drive down to Palm Beach County to take your classes or your instruction.
Right.
So matter of fact, when we built the benches in the spring this year, we had all the lumber and everything delivered there. So the carpenters actually did the pre-assembling. So when we got to the West Side campus, the kids were ready to go.
Well, now that you've mentioned it, you better talk about the bench build.
Oh, that was amazing. What we did was our CEO, Will, said to me, Sean, the ball's in your court, but there's something I would like to see you do. Have our youth come in and learn the process. And so what we did, we had 4 training instructors from the Carpenters apprenticeship program and 8 of our youths. And we built from scratch park benches. And what we did with these benches is, we cut them, we sewed them, we sanded them, we painted them, and it took 3-4 coats of a stain. But then the first one we donated to the Copus Nursing Home, which is the veterans nursing home in tradition. We just donated it right before Memorial Day. We had 30 veterans there, and it was just heartwarming and it was just really something. And then we had Sean Boyle, whose daughter was a club director at Morningside, and she passed away unfortunately at 26 years old. And we donated the bench to her family in her name, and they have it at the Botanical Gardens.
Right.
The third one we are going to be donating to the veterans on Veterans Parkway in Port St. Lucie. And this summer we're going to be building those, a gazebo, some dog houses. And what we'll do with these, it's funny because somebody said, oh, you could get $300-400 for these things, they're beautiful. No, that wasn't Will or my intent.
Right.
We want to give back to those who give back to our community, so that's what we're going to do.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, because I do think it's important to reiterate the different levels of impact that these projects have. Not only are we teaching our teens and our young people these trades and how to work with their hands and build these beautiful benches and items and gazebos and all types of things, but we are really instilling in them the importance of giving back to their community. And I think it's really important for Boys and Girls Clubs, as it is for other organizations in the county, to keep that talent and that passion within our county. So I think projects like that are really exciting. And we've done workforce readiness projects in the past, don't get me wrong, but we are really revamping it this year. Obviously, you said you started in January, so all those projects are kind of gearing up, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And just to see, like this summer, I'm going to talk about too, summer school is in play. So we have thousands of actually teens that are over 1,000 or close to 1,000 of teenagers. So we're having summer speakers. Like last week we had Bill Morosco. He's the head basketball coach of Indian River State College. 24-7 last year, only had one returning player. The kids were so engrossed in every word that he said, because he said, here's a typical day of a college athlete. You get up at 6, you got breakfast at 7, you got school from 8 to 10:30, then you go to the gym and practice, watch film. 12 o'clock, you go to lunch. 1 o'clock, you go to more classes till 2. Then you go to the gym again. Then you go to dinner, and you go back and do an hour's worth of schoolwork and 2 hours of more training. And it's every day. And what he instilled in our youths was, you could have a 2.0 GPA or a 3.5 GPA. And the one with the 3.5 has no red flags. And he explained what the red flags were. You are who you hang out with. If you want to sleep till 11 o'clock in the morning, that's not going to work. And the kids really, really were engrossed in what he had to say. So that was last week. Tomorrow we'll have a master instructor of digital forensics. It's a Steve Nicholson from Indian River State College. Cybersecurity. Interesting stuff. I'm going to sit through that whole thing because I want to learn. Then we have a crime scene detective, public safety, a detective from Port St. Lucie, Detective Joel Smith with 2 of his helpers. And then photography on the 19th with Linda and Mitch Chlorfan. All the kids have cell phones. They'll have a game with taking pictures and things in case you want to get in photography. And then last but not least, on July 26th, we'll have a firefighter, Lieutenant Alexia French, who will explain how it means to be an EMT, firefighter, paramedic, and the pathway to get to there. So we just want to, and then somewhere in the summer we'll have a career day too, where we'll have Zach and the different trades come again, talk to the kids, because, and we said this last time I talked, once the kids turn 18 and they're our club members, then they're alumni and you let them go. Well, I don't want to do that anymore. That's the opportunity when you and all the different building trades, and union or non-union, have the opportunity to take these young men and women and give them a career path.
Right. Well, and that's so important too, because we really try to have a holistic approach at Boys and Girls Clubs and give them all the tools that they need to succeed. And sometimes that does include helping them past 18. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the different organizations that you guys work with, not just Boys and Girls Clubs, but other community impact that you guys have, because that's also super important, not just with Boys and Girls Clubs, but with other organizations as well.
Yeah, we partner with United Way, giving back to, for Broward County and Palm Beach County. Palm Beach Career Source Boards and Broward Career Source Boards, St. Lucie Career Source Boards. And I know apprenticeship's been the big topic with all of them lately. So perfect timing to partner with them, and we're getting in front of a lot of the high schools. I know down in Broward County we have one of the commissioners down there, Steve Geller, who's part of his initiatives to get the high school kids and middle school kids interested in the trades, returning veterans coming back into the trades, and then second chance citizens coming out of prison did their time, and merging them back into the community and offering them a position in the trades. But you kind of got to give back to push yourself forward, I feel. So, but definitely with the middle school and high school kids, you almost got to start in middle school, because by mid-high school year, they kind of have an idea of what they want, but you kind of spark that interest in middle school. Junior achievement down in Broward County. So I love getting in front of the kids and talking to them and just trying to inspire them, because I know when I went through high school, we had, like you said, I think it left shortly after, but we had vocational, and I think they got rid of a lot of those classes to make room for regular classes. And I think now they're looking at trying to bring that back in, because if you don't know if you're good with working with your hands, if you don't have someone at home or a neighbor or an uncle that can kind of point you on that path, so having that in high school might spark that interest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do high schools even have like wood shop and things like that anymore?
I think they're getting back
Some of
to
them.
it.
I know Seminole Ridge has an electrical program out there. We've partnered with them for Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
So we'll help them build their house out there on site and run over, get all the electric hooked up, and then they deliver the house to where, set it up on whatever location they're putting it at.
You want to talk about the Helmets to Hard Hats program?
Yeah, through our national building trades, we have a program started real small, and now it's nationwide. They got somebody for each region throughout the country, but they basically go and talk to all the different armed forces coming back from doing their time of service, and basically vets them to see what they're interested in, and
Puts them to the front of the line.
Yeah.
So basically, you get someone that wants to be an iron worker.
Right.
The regional director for our area will get in touch with the iron worker in that jurisdiction, and basically have everything they need for the apprenticeship program kind of put in place, and then kind of fast tracks them to get into they'll do an aptitude test, and then they'll go in front of the apprenticeship committee for an interview.
Wow.
They just actually hired one of the guys out of Tampa's local, IBW local. He was an organizer for them, and he was a Marine veteran, came back a few years ago, and they hired him, and it was a great hire because he can relate. If I go and talk to a veteran, may not be someone that was, recently fighting over there in Afghanistan or Iraq, so and they can relate to them a little bit better and offer them a different pathway. The veterans seem to work out great for us because they already have that work ethic instilled in them, the brotherhood of the camaraderie they have, and then when they get into the trades, whichever trade that is, it kind of fits well with what they're used to.
Yeah, and kind of used to working with their hands as well, I'm sure.
Yes.
As far as high school students, when you're speaking to the high school and middle school students, what do you get back as far as interest? Do you feel like there is a strong interest?
Yeah, there's a big every time we do that. There's a good percentage of them that actually are very interested. Some are going through the motions of the classroom, get out of the regular class to hear somebody speak. But when they get especially like 11th grade, you get in that area where they're still undecided, and then you talk of the benefits of
the wages, the benefits,
yeah, the wages, the benefits.
The
I mean, people don't know pension annuity when you hear it, but when you explain it a little bit more in depth. When they go to retire, they're not having to rely just on Social Security and savings.
Well,
So
in case there are some high school students out there watching this episode right now, what are some of those benefits that they could look forward to if they go through some of these programs?
Most of them all offer like either some type of pension program or pension and annuity. Annuity basically be a lump sum of money. You got defined benefit, defined contributions. Your pension will pay you a monthly amount every month for the rest of your life. The annuity, a lot of them, you roll over that, whatever that large sum of money that you've accumulated over the years of your working in the trade, you roll that over into some type of investment, that's your money. But the pension pays you a set money amount, and it's on top of the negotiated wages that we get. So you're getting your hourly rate in your pocket, and then the contractors will pay that amount on top of it. And then, of course, the family medical care.
Yeah, it's not deducted from your pay. It's a benefit
It's on top of it.
your hourly rate.
Right. And you mentioned Broward County and some of the other schools in other counties. Are you getting in front of the high school and middle school students in St. Lucie County as well?
Yes.
Outside of Boys and Girls Clubs, I
Yeah.
assume.
Not as much as we like. That's what we're trying to get into front of any crowd we can pretty much talk to. I mean, like Sean mentioned before, we are going to experience non-union and union skilled labor gap. The baby boomers, the largest generation that's retiring. I think it was 10,000 people a day are turning 65. And nationwide, we're not bringing in enough younger people in to fill those roles.
Right.
And with construction booming the way it is, I mean, it is up and down.
Right
now, it's on the up, and that's nationwide. But the skilled labor is going to be in demand everywhere.
Right.
And the 4 or 5 year program that it takes to get to that level, and even when you top out after the 5 years, you're still right here. There's a lot you never stop
Continuous
learning.
education.
Right. Well, I think one thing I really love about Boys and Girls Clubs is that a lot of times there are so many opportunities for collaborations and things that you would never really put two and two together. But I do think that this opens so many doors for collaboration, and you mentioned like a career fair, for example, and there's just opportunities to bring schools in, and we have 17 school-based clubs, including middle schools and K through 8s and things like that, and high schools now as well. And so I do think that that's just an awesome partnership I think that, Sean, you're doing a great job of connecting us with these partnerships.
My wife calls me the dot connector.
The dot connector, yes. No, and I think there's lots of dots to be connected, right?
Absolutely.
So, and what else can we look forward to? You mentioned an alumni program that you want to work on, the dog houses and things like that. What other projects can we be looking forward to for workforce readiness?
Well, not only projects, but I want to be able to offer the young men and women, for example, you could take first aid CPR. Say if a parent wants to hire a kid to be your babysitter. Well, wouldn't you rather hire a young man or woman says, hey, by the way, I'm CPR first aid certified also. That's a plus. OSHA 10, that we can, whether the kids go in, or young kids go into the trades or not, or do something, once you get a certification, it's just like anything else. It's something they can't take away, like a bachelor's degree or a certificate.
Yeah.
So I just want to be able to reach our youth, and I'm visiting, matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going over to Chuck Hill, and I want to meet with the kids, because a lot of times what I think they want, I have no idea. So I want to talk to our youth. It's called going to the Gemba. You go where the workers are and ask them, or the youths are, and ask them, what do you want? Because sometimes it's funny, when I first got hired, I spoke in front of a bunch of teenagers, and I said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
NBA player, a TikToker, and my next question is, well, if that doesn't pan out, what's your backup
What
plan?
do you mean? I think they're all going to be TikTokers.
Yeah, but you know, in my family, I'm a perfect example. My daughter went to Indian River State College. She's a 7th grade math teacher, and she loves what she does. And I had a son, Patrick. He got his associate's degree. He can sing, he can act. He wasn't going on Broadway. He was living with me, and I said, well, what are you going to do now? He didn't know. And I said, well, until you figure it out, you're going to go in my apprenticeship program. He's a homeowner here, 2 beautiful kids, and he graduated my program, and he's a welder out of our nuke plant. So
That's
there's
awesome.
pathways.
Yeah. And there's so many, that opens doors for so many community partnerships. And like I said, it keeps it all right here in
Ben
St. Lucie
Franklin
County.
Plumbing. They were one of the people that stepped right up, did all the water lines at the Ken Pruitt unit. This guy, Brian, was an absolutely wonderful person to work with. And then, of course, Jay from the IBW. The collaboration is just, I think the sky's the limit as we progress going further and further. There's more interest in what we're doing for workforce readiness, and I'm just super excited.
And we hope there's a mutual benefit too, right? Like we hope that by teaching our teens these skills, that we're also employing these partners and companies and local
Absolutely.
businesses with future employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that kind of goes in with your alumni program as well. So it
Correct.
all kind of ties full circle. If someone wants to get involved, can you remind us the website that they can go to?
Yeah, IBW728.org. We have our location in West Palm Beach on Summit Military, as well as Fort Lauderdale, right on State Road 84. And then the iron workers are in Riviera Beach.
And the green collar up here.
Green
where
collar
they
up
do
here on
training.
Medway Road.
But they can get all that information on
Yeah,
that one
Online.
website.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. And if anybody out there wants information on Boys and Girls Clubs and our Workforce Readiness Program, if you want information on our bench build or any of our recent initiatives coming up, if you want to know all about Sean Mitchell here, you can go to our website, which is www.bgcofslc.org. And we do have 23 clubs throughout the county, 6 clubhouses, 17 school-based sites. I hope my math is correct there. But we're just really excited to get as many youth involved as possible. How much did you say our county is growing by?
Oh my goodness, they say by the year 2045, which is only 22 years away, we'll have 270,000 more residents,
Oh my
which is,
gosh.
if you can imagine, a whole nother Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, see, and we're, as of right now, we're only serving, well, I say only, but this
Yeah.
is really amazing. We serve about 1 in 10 youth in the county, and there's 9 other of that 10 that we
Yeah.
can be serving, and that can one day be in the skilled trades and things of that nature. So
There's 68,000 children in our county, and like you say, it's about 10% that we do. But what's wonderful about what we do through Will, the CEO, and everybody else is we collaborate with all the other not-for-profits, and
right.
it just collectively we do good things for our county.
Right, and I thank you both for being here to share those amazing things that
you.
we're doing. Again, if you want more information, it's bgcofslc.org. Thank you so much.